Assalamualaikum Cik Zainal. Regarding your request about which one is the best investment choice between the real estate property investment, shares and unit trust, I have made a report and I will present to you. So, first thing first, what is the characteristic of this investment choice? For the real estate property investment, there are about 6 characteristics, which is durability, lack of transparency, heterogeneity, illiquid, high startup cost, and investment vulnerability. The most important characteristic is that it is durable, but the cost for the startup cost is the highest among these three investment type. For the shares, there are several characteristics, which is permanent capital. The company have no obligation to pay the dividend to the investor. No security. Company have no obligation to refund the fund to the owner during its lifetime. Residual claim to income and property. Freedom to transfer the shares, like sell the shares to other people. The right to manage the company, as the shareholders are the owner of the company. And last characteristic is limited liability. For the unit trust, there are about 5 characteristics of unit trust, which is the unit trust is an open-ended scheme of investment. Each unit trust have its own different unique set of investment objective. Unit trusts are designed according to the investor's financial limitation. The investor that invested in the unit trust have the right on the unit trust assets, and the unit trust is managed by the fund manager. For the procedures to enter into investment for real estate property, there are about 9 steps that the new investor can take to enter into the investments. The first step is that you need to know your financial state, because this type of investment have the highest startup cost. So it's best to know what is your financial state to avoid any problems with the banks and other problems. Second, choose the best real estate investing strategy. Pick the target market. Decide an investment property criteria. Create a team that consists of architect and contractor. If you have this team, it will make things easier. For the fifth, line up the financing. Raise the capital for down payment and reserve. Create a good deal and schedule the time and prioritize what are the next actions. The investor need to take some time and see the performance of the investment in property. The investor need to know what is the best step, what is the best action that they need to take for the property investment have a good performance. For the shares, there are several steps that the new investor can take to come into the investment. The first is that you need to decide how you want to invest in this stock. And second, choose the investing account. Third, know the differences between stocks and stock mutual fund. Fourth, set a budget for the stock investment. Fifth, focus on the long term. And lastly, manage your own portfolio. For the unit trust, there are about 3 ways to invest in the unit trust. The first is through cash or lump sum. Second way is through regular savings, and the third way is invest through the EPS investment scheme. Okay, for the cost related involved in each investment, for the real estate property, there are about 3 categories of cost, which is initial cost, operating cost, and non-operating cost. For the initial cost, it's like the price of the property, the stamp duty, the payment to the agent, or any other associate costs. For the operating cost, it is the maintenance of the properties and others. For non-operating costs, it's for example the depreciation, the decreasing in the property's price. The last cost not happen frequently, but it sure happen. There are several factors that make the property's price to decrease, such as defects and other factor like bad news about the house, about the property. So for the share cost, there are about four costs in the shares. First is brokerage fee, stamp duty, clearing fee, and the tax, the SST tax, sales and service tax. For the unit trust, there are about four costs: entry costs, transferring costs, ongoing costs, and exit costs. The exit cost is the payment, the charge that the Bursa Malaysia charge on the investor for using their platform to invest. Okay, what about the size of capital needed? For the size of capital need for real estate investment, the investor need a really huge amount of capital for the startup, for the initial process. This type of investment have the highest startup cost, initial cost between the three investment type. The cost for real estate investment is about 20% from the property size, 10% for down payment, and other 10% for stamp duty and other costs. For unit trust and shares, the costs are flexible. There are no minimum and no maximum. The more you invest, the more you get the profit. Okay, for the source of capital, there are about three types of source of capital, which is retained earnings, debt capital, and equity capitals. Retained earnings is like the profit that you get from your business. You save the profit and use it as the capital for investment. Debt capital is that you take a loan from the bank and use it for the investment. For the equity, is like the shares or stock that your company sells to the outside investor to get the capital, and the capital you use to invest in the investment. So which one is the best? Which choices, which investment type is the best? I have include the calculation here. You can check and you can see the which one of the investment gives the highest investment return, or ROI, return on investment. For the real estate property investment, there are two methods to calculate: the cost method and out of pocket method. For the shares, the formula to calculate the ROI is the total investment gain divided by initial value of investment and multiply by 100 to get the percent. Unit trust, for the unit trust, the final redemption value is divided by the profit gain. Okay, you can see the example here. So which one is the best investment choice? From the calculation, we can see that the highest ROI between the three is the shares. However, the more stable and the more secure between these three is that the real property investment. If you manage or you can get a huge amount of capital for the startup cost, it is best to go for the real property investment, real estate property investment. However, if you don't have a huge amount of capital for the initial cost, you can go for shares because it gives a huge high ROI between these three, highest between these three. But if you want safety and you prefer safety and low risk over the profit, you can go for unit trust because unit trust is more safe and the risk is lower compared to shares. Okay, I think that's all. From you can go through my report and you can see the calculation. Yeah, you can make your decision.